Hello, this is Katia, your midwife. Today's video is about pelvic floor health and pelvic floor exercises. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about my point of view in regards to pelvic floor exercises and how they should be done, opposed to how you're told to do them. So, just very touch base. I'm not going to do a lecture about pelvic floor today. I'm not going to show you any anatomical models, but just a basic visualization of the pelvic floor. Where is it? It's at the bottom of your pelvis, okay? So it's where your vagina, your anus is, or where your penis is. And it's a group of muscles which are organized on 3 layers, so one on top of each other. And these muscles, what they do keep the pelvic organs in place. So they help them not to fall off of your body. Okay, this is the very basic explanation on what pelvic floor is and what it is, why it's there. Okay, so in terms of pelvic floor health and pelvic floor exercises, so this is something that is not only related to childbearing women or postnatal women. Everyone has a pelvic floor. Men have pelvic floor. So that's why I mentioned the penis earlier on. So it's quite important for men and women to ensure that the pelvic floor is in check. Okay. And this is to avoid incidents such as, urinary incontinence, fecal incontinence. So this is when you lose urine or stools involuntarily, and also organ prolapse. The organ prolapse is when your internal organs just fall down in your pelvis, and if you have a vagina, you may feel or see something popping out of your vagina, which is not a baby. It could be a uterus, it could be your bladder. Okay, I know it's quite grotesque as an image, but this is what it is. So in my scope of practice, most of the times I deal with women, childbearing women, postnatal women. Okay, so in that case, if you're expecting a baby or just had a baby, you may come across your GP, your midwife, the hospital physiotherapist is coming for a ward round right after you've had your baby. And most of the times, the kind of questions they would ask you would be, have you been doing your pelvic floor exercises? Sometimes women would say yes, and in that case you would be told, okay, well done, keep up the good work, without even asking you how you're doing them, how many times, but they just, okay, yeah, well done, yeah, good. And some of the times, I think in the majority of cases, women would say no. The reason why women would say no to that question is that probably they don't have time to do the exercises, or they haven't been told how to do the exercises correctly or how to do them at all. Or some others would say, I have no idea what the pelvic floor is. No one has ever explained that to me. And in that case, what the midwives, GPs, or physiotherapists at the hospital would tell you, and they would give you leaflets about it, would be, okay, do this simple exercise when you're home, ideally laying down or any way you can do it while you're brushing your teeth, while you're sitting at your computer, whenever you want it. You can set an alarm as long as you do it 3 times a day, 8 repetitions per day. And this is already quite a big exercise plan. So some people could be quite frozen by that kind of introduction. So the way they explain you to do with pelvic floor exercises, which are called Kegel exercises, would be, okay, just imagine your vagina, imagine your back passage, okay? These are your main holes, your main orifices in your pelvis. If you have a vagina, then you would have a third hole, which is called a urethra. This is where your urine is coming out from. And they would tell you, okay, the way to do the exercise is that you should imagine to stop the flow of urine. Well, don't do it while you're urinating, but they would tell you, just imagine you want to stop the flow of urine, or you want to stop some wind. Okay, this is the way they would describe it. So you squeeze down below, You count to 10 and you can imagine like a lift going up and then start to release, counting from 10 to 0 and imagine the lift coming down. Or another version of the same exercise would be, okay, think about a switch and do on and off, on and off, on and off a bit faster. And this is something that women find quite easy. But still, they would be told, do it 3 times a day for at least 8 to 10 repetitions, without talking about building up, without talking about having an awareness of your pelvic floor. And then they send you home. Now, Kegels are effective, okay? Has been demonstrated that they do help to tone up the pelvic floor. They would help in case of some types of urinary incontinence with organ prolapse. That could help. But there has been quite a lot of research in the last few years that has demonstrated that Kegels alone are not as effective as we think. So Kegels are isolation, a kind of exercise. It's called isolation exercise. So that means that you just train that single group of muscles. Pelvic floor now, we all, well, in the fitness industry and in the women's health industry, we know that pelvic floor is connected to some other muscles, such as your abdominals, your back muscles, your glutes, and it could go up to your chest muscles, just because all of these tissues are held together by connective tissue. Again, this is not a lecture about human anatomy. I'm not going to go very deep into that, but this is to make you understand that if we incorporate the Kegels with other movements, which could be from proper prescribed exercise to everyday life movements, such as lifting shopping bags or climbing the stairs or breathing, we would be able to achieve a better result with our Kegels. So just to give you some numbers there, a few researchers, but a study has demonstrated that by integrating Kegels with some usual exercises that we would do at the gym or we would do with a personal trainer, make the Kegels more effective. So if I do a lunge, my Kegels would be 42% more effective. If I do a squat, we would have 30% more efficiency of my Kegels. And hear that, if we do a shoulder bridge, my pelvic floor exercise, my Kegel would be 56% more efficient. That means that we would feel that the pelvic floor is more connected to the rest of my body. But anyway, it's more connected and it feels stronger when I do these exercises. Obviously, this is something that needs to be done under the supervision of a fitness instructor, a women's health physio, or a midwife who is trained is trained in pre-postnatal exercise, or anyway women's health exercise or pelvic floor exercise in general. Well, you're lucky because I'm one of these people. I've done my trainings, I've got my knowledge, I've got my skills. And in fact, when I teach my exercise classes, when I teach my aquanatal classes, I tend not to dedicate a part of my exercise session to the pelvic floor exercises. Sometimes when you go to exercise sessions like pre-postnatal exercise sessions, towards the end of the class, before the relaxation and the stretching, you get the instructor stopping you from what you're doing and say, okay, everyone sit down or sit on the ball or lay down and we're going to do the pelvic floor exercises because this is how you should do them. No, this is not how you should do them. Well, you could do them as well, but if you integrated them to your everyday movements, to your normal exercises, to your breathing, then you will surely have a more effective pelvic floor health. So, long story short, there are other ways to do your pelvic floor exercises. There are ways to make your Kegels, your isolation exercises, more effective by integrating them to a broader spectrum of movements and exercises. If you're interested in understanding how you could achieve that, just contact me on katia@yourmidwife.co.uk, or send me a message through Facebook, put a comment underneath my video, and I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you. In the next few weeks, I'm going to post some videos with some very useful exercises that you could do at home in order to make sure that you are in good health either before or after you've had your baby. If you're interested in attending my one-to-one sessions or my antenatal classes, where I also do one session dedicated to movement in pregnancy, just give me a buzz, just contact me, and we can set these up. So if you found this video interesting, just share it with your friends, like my Facebook page, connect and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, bye bye.